so as not to distract from the meeting. Okay, jumping in, we have moving on to communications. We have the appointment of Ms. Amanda Noble as the city auditor. Is Ms. Noble on the call? I trust she will be there for the meeting. Okay. If any questions or comments from my colleagues on that, actually, I can't even. All right, with that, let's keep moving on. Consent agenda. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items for first read. So we will get those read in and then move on to them for the next cycle. All right, it takes us to regular agenda ordinances for second read. First item is 22-01327. This is for ATL cleaning disinfectant services. It looks like for Public Works. Who from Public Works will be presenting on Wednesday?
This is Keith Robinson, Deputy Commissioner for DPW. Deputy Commissioner Anu will be presenting.
Okay, I'm sorry, who was that Deputy Commissioner?
Robinson. Okay. Yeah, but DC Anu will be presenting.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just if you will, make sure that they're ready to explain the fact that it's outstanding invoices, just what happened there and why we're just catching it now, as well as the amount. It seems kind of high for the period of time. So if you'll just relay those two questions over for Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Other questions? I don't know if any of my colleagues. I don't see any of my colleagues on the call. They may all be over at the Wellness Center.
Mr. Chair. I'm on the call.
Oh, very good. Councilmember Waits, thank you.
It is Councilmember Dozier. I'm here as well.
All right. Sorry, y'all. I couldn't see y'all on the list here. All right. I'll keep moving on. Item number 9, 22-01328. This is an amendment to the FY23 budget to create some account numbers. Who from is finance talking to this?
Good afternoon, Councilman. This is DP Singh with the Department of City Planning. I'll be speaking to this paper on Wednesday.
Okay. Very good. This is just kind of procedural, right? It's just administrative. There's not any funding associated with this just yet, correct?
That's correct. We're just cleaning up the back end so it matches up the front end of the operations.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from my colleagues or information requests? All right, items 10 and 11 are related, 22-01329 and 1330. These are emergency catering services with Carlisle's Catering and then Goldberg's Concession. Looks like adding 2 departments to this, both papers. Who will be speaking to this?
I'll be speaking as Deputy Commissioner Keith Robinson.
Okay, great. All right, any questions or requests from my colleagues on the emergency catering papers?
No.
Okay, actually, on this one too, just speaking to the timing on this, I see that there was a 90-day extension done administratively, so just be prepared to speak to that as well, if you can, Mr. Robinson. All right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 12, 22-01331. This is actually my paper to transfer some funds from Councilmember Ide for fire station. Any questions on this? Okay. All right, items 13 and 14 are budget related. 22-01332 is the ad valorem tax rate, and then 22-01334 is the actual budget itself. These will be read in and then held, obviously, until we get the budget process completed. Any questions or requests on these? All right. We have a number of donation papers. So it'll be items 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that these are items 22-01342, 45, 59, 1359, 1366, 1368, 1370, 1371, and 1372, and 1373. And these are pretty standard as it looks. Any questions for my colleagues or requests for information on these? All right. Actually, I take that back. So I read the number 16 in to take with that. That's not correct. So 16 is the next one. It is a standalone paper from Councilmember Shook. Charter amendment amending the audit section on some reporting requirements and follow-up requirements. This requires 3 reads. So what we'll do after hearing about this is if we approve it, it goes back to council, full council will come back to us one more time during the next cycle. But in the meantime, any questions or comments from my colleagues on this paper? Okay, I'll keep moving. Item number 18, 22-01346. This is an airport bond paper. Actually, let me go back to the audit paper. Who from the administration will be presenting this? Will this come from the auditor's office, do we think? Ms. Noble, perhaps? Okay, we'll leave a question mark in that. All right, so jumping back to 18, 22-01346, the airport bond paper. Is someone from finance or someone from aviation speaking to this one?
Finance will speak to that one.
Okay.
I think we're gonna hold it one cycle though. Is that correct, Christy?
That is correct.
Okay. So if I understand the timing on this one correctly, so we're going to hold this, then move it forward at the meeting on the 15th to be at the June 6th meeting, full council meeting, but then refer it to the special call meeting at that point, right? So that's the intended timeline path for this, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right. Questions or requests from my colleagues on that paper? All right. 19, 20, 21, 22 through 25, we've already talked about. All right. So that takes us to resolutions. Item number 26, 22-R3575. This is the shell paper for water overpayment receipts or refunds. So we are going to hold this, to my understanding, this cycle. All right. If there are no other questions on that one. All right. Takes us to 27, 22-R3578. This is council members' paper around premium pay. And it's just requesting a report. Is there someone from HR on this? Will y'all be present at the meeting to respond to this request, or at least discuss your readiness to comply or respond?
Jeffrey Norman.
Yep.
Yeah, we will be able to speak to the resolution at the meeting.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner.
No problem.
Other questions or requests from my colleagues on this paper? All right. Item number 28, 22-R3635. This is a citywide electrical repair for the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. Will someone from DEAM be on here to speak, or Cultural Affairs?
We'll be on to speak on this one.
I do have a question too. Is this associated with the Jazz Festival? I just found it kind of unusual that the Cultural Affairs Office would need electrical work.
No, does not do with the, well, that is being added to the contract. How they're going to use it, I'm not sure, but.
Okay. But can we make sure that there's someone from the Cultural Affairs Office to explain the use? I don't believe it's in the legislation, but if it's for the Jazz Festival, that's fine. I just want to see, get that confirmed. The other thing I did want to point out, and maybe we will have a conversation about it on Wednesday, is it's an 8th amendment to a contract. If we could have kind of the history of this, kind of going back to the notion of, flags going up in my mind when we've got a contract and then all of a sudden over a period of time we've added so much more money to it that it becomes a completely different contract, in my opinion. So if someone could be there, I don't know if that's a procurement question or if someone could retrace the steps, that would be helpful.
Okay.
All right, other questions or comments from my colleagues? All right, 22-R3636. This is a cooperative purchasing arrangement for a bunch of departments for, what is it, office furniture. Is this a DEAM paper or someone from
Yeah, we
DEAM?
can speak to, we can speak to this one as well.
Okay. I have a question for you, and this may be procurement as well. What's the difference between a cooperative purchasing arrangement versus a cooperative purchasing agreement? Is there
That might be a Martin question.
Chairperson Juan, this is Sharice Gates from the Law
Yes.
Department.
Yeah.
And a cooperative purchasing agreement is when the city enters into a contract with a third-party vendor based on that federal or state contract. And the cooperative purchasing arrangement is a separate section of the city code that allows the city to utilize relationships, but we don't have to enter into contracts with each one of the vendors. We kind of purchase based off of what the state has already done.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. I learned something new every day. All right. Other questions or comments from my colleagues on this one? All right. Item number 30, 22-R3637, business license and cashier management agreement with Tyler Technologies. Is this a finance? Is finance going to be speaking to this?
This is a finance paper, but we're gonna hold it and likely substitute it.
Okay. Substitute it next cycle or this cycle?
Next cycle.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? All right, item number 31, 22-R3638, special procurement agreement with GCR Inc. Cloud-based application consulting services. Will someone from finance or watershed be speaking to this one?
Good afternoon, Chairman Juan. This is Yolanda Carr. I'll be speaking to this legislation.
Okay. All right, thank you. Questions or requests from my colleagues on that one? All right, that takes us to dual referred. We have two new ones this cycle. Both are going to start in land first in another committee before coming to us. The first one is Councilmember Amos's paper regarding selling solid waste service fee liens for our seniors. But city utilities will deliberate on that first, and we'll see what happens that morning before coming to us. And then 22-01369, a number of folks have signed on this one for the moving Atlanta forward infrastructure oversight. That'll land in transportation first before coming to us. Any initial comments or requests from my my colleagues on either of these two papers? All right. We'll see if any of the other dual referreds make it out of their respective committees before our meeting on Wednesday. All right, that takes us to held papers. Are there any papers from the administration coming off this cycle? Okay.
Hi, Chairman Juan, it's
Yes.
Commissioner Browning. We're going to be pulling off item 47,
Okay.
the Encuesta.
Okay, and that one's ready to go, or?
It's ready to go.
And that was, okay, so we'll have to amend it to attach the iPro report, is that correct?
Yes.
And the iPro report will be ready on time.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other questions on the legislative items from my colleagues? All right, I do have a request for finance while we're on here, in that in advance of next week, since this week we're not going to have any budget hearings, but in advance of next week, just kind of reissuing my request that before each department presents that day, that we're able to get a summary of the third quarter financial results, just for reference. Two things specifically for me are kind of burn rate up through third quarter, understanding that, you know, all the different qualifiers around that, and then also kind of staffing as well. I know that we've talked about the presentations, including that table, in terms of the requested positions for 2023, but also what's happening right now in 2022. But yeah, just reiterating that request. Is that doable?
Councilmember Juan, I only sent it to you, the third quarter year-to-date actuals versus
Yes.
budget.
Okay.
I can share with Santana and ask her to send that or share that if that's agreeable.
I'd say, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember seeing that come in. Let me take a quick glance at it after we end this meeting, and then you know, I'll give you feedback and Santana feedback if that'll cover kind of what I think folks are wanting to see. So
Okay.
thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. And then on your second request, we have sent out a communication and asked for the departments to include in their presentation the kind of that table that Dean did for FY22 and 23 with filled and vacant positions. Do you want that ahead of the meeting, or is it okay to do that in the hearing?
So long as it is included in their presentation, that table, that accomplishes what we need. So that'd be good.
Okay.
Thank you. I suspect with a number of the ones that are coming up on Monday, there'll be kind of added, you know, looks at those numbers this go around. So just
okay.
All right. That's all I have. Does anyone else, any of my colleagues on the call, have anything else front of mind for our Wednesday meeting? All right. If not, are there anything from the departments ahead of Wednesday's meeting that we didn't already cover? Okay. All right. Thanks for going through this. We'll see everybody at 1:30 on Wednesday.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a great
Michelle.
rest of your Monday.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.